Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Today, taking a look at the 2020 re-release of Boba Fett's Slave 1. And I say re-release because for the vintage collection way back in 2013, we had pretty much this very same vehicle come out as an Amazon exclusive. So I've already done a review of that 2013 version, and since basically we're looking at the same thing here, just updated paint applications and such, this one's really more going to be just a comparison between that 2013 release to how things look with this 2020 version. And extra special note, while you can probably still find this here and there, it is getting a full-blown re-release. Is that about right? It's slated for, well, spring. Anytime now, I guess. Spring of 2021. Big thing this time around is the initial sticker price is $150. Originally, when it was 2013 release, I want to say it was 70, 80, 70, something like that. Looking real quick at the packaging. If you're an in-box collector or just display the boxes, whatever, definitely some differences with the looks of this, but overall very similar. You're still getting a look of the vehicle with some people set up off to the side carrying Han Solo and Carbonate, but this time bit more of a diorama setup with the landing platform and some of that Cloud City building structures in the background. One notable difference also is what they're calling this. His label on the box is Boba Fett's Slave 1, whereas back in 2013 it was Slave 1 Boba Fett's Spaceship. Off on the upper right side is going to be a red notation that this includes a display stand. That was not included back in 2013. Definitely a highlight of this release. And in the lower left side of the packaging, you're going to see an image of it on that display stand. Sides of the box, similar photos showing off the same feature. The left side essentially shows the door opened up, Boba Fett Stormtrooper hanging out there. That right side showing off, you get a little button on the side, drop the bombs. Top side of the packaging showing off various features, with the addition this time around of highlighting the back of the vehicle. Bottom side showing off the same features as they originally did, rotating wings, missiles that shoot out. And then backside pretty much the same as the front, with the usual addition of the Vintage Collection logo in the top right corner. And here it is out of the packaging, looking very fantastic. As I mentioned, I'm not going to go into a lot of the features because I already covered that in the original review I did of the 2013 version. I will have a link of that down in the description if you wish to go back and watch that. As we start to go through these shots, you're going to notice that I was not paying attention when I did my shots of this in flight mode. I forgot to adjust the wings so that they're in the proper orientation. With that said, I will tell you that on mine, I am having some difficulty, though, getting the wings to remain in flight mode, if you will, where they're more horizontal. I just can't get this one to lock into place, even though I did attach the wings with everything being in the landing position. But as you can see here on this shot, since I can't get them to lock, the spring tension is quite strong, actually, and it just continues to push the wings down. So your mileage may vary with your results. And with that said, moving on to this comparison, as I already mentioned, this new one does come with a display stand. It's a very sturdy acrylic stand, and, you know, probably shooting this in front of blue, not the best idea, but there is a bit of cloudiness to this plastic. And at the bottom of that base, etched in there, you're going to get the Mandalorian logo, or I should say the Mythosaur's skull designed in there. And for using this stand, the vehicle simply slides on, slides off. No clips or anything holding it into place. But as I said earlier, the ship's not going anywhere. And the plus side to that is it will also work with the original 2013 release. So if you happen to come across an extra one or, you know, whatever, yeah, it definitely works with that. So as I go through showing some side-by-side shots, you will see the stand show up in the original 2013 release, but definitely was not included back then. Just want to make sure that's clear up front. All right, and now throwing these two vehicles up side by side. Firstly, I do believe the base light gray color of the vehicle is a little bit different. That original 2013 release does tend to push a little more green in its tint. And this new one is giving you a very nice dirt wash all throughout that, I'll just call it light gray, but through that light gray part, your darker grays as you're looking at the body and throughout the wings. And that's really well done. Has a very nice, dirty, slimy look to it. Dark green coloring of the paint job between the two vehicles is a little bit darker on this newer release. Burgundy color seems pretty much in line, maybe just a shade darker on the newer release. And then otherwise your various scrapes and scratches within that paint job are looking pretty identical. Some of that pinkish color might be a little bit heavier on the new release, and even in size in some spots. Down at the very front edge of the vehicle off on the right of that loading ramp. But like I said, it's minimal. It's just here and there. Otherwise, it pretty much carries the same pattern. And then same for the little bit of carbon scoring at the front or top of the vehicle. I guess it depends which shot I have up at this time. But that bottom gray spot looking pretty much the same, but a little bit heavier off to the left side of that front green pattern. Paint application is also different where the wings attach to the vehicle. The inside of this body is a darker gray color. I like that much better. It gives it a much more metal look instead of a plastic look to it. It doesn't feel plastic anyways. And then of course you got some dirt wash within there and some additional burgundy painting that wasn't done to highlight some of the sculpting before. Missile cannons are also a different color. On that original release, the cannons themselves were a dark gray color. So overall, front and sides of the vehicle, already a very nice improvement. And now we move on to the back side of the vehicle, where it's just a night and day difference between these two releases. The base color of that plastic back plate is now, I'd say, a bluish gray color. Down at the bottom where you got your legal information, without that dirt wash applied, that is the base color that is used throughout. And then the rest just covered in just the heavy dirt wash. You have peach color up at the top for this dish where you got more dirt wash applied to that. Great engine detailing still with the burgundy running around the edges, but now a vibrant yellow in the middle. There's just such great shading and texture to that dirt wash that even though the sculpting between these two is identical, it just feels so much different as you look on it. And certainly makes it worth having that display stand to show off the backside of this vehicle. Also, I just want to say out of the box that unfortunately my canopy cover was, warped, just due to the way it was packaged. Thankfully, it can still close just fine, and that's thanks in no small part to the tabs now being larger on the top of the canopy. As you can see for that initial release, those tabs were a lot smaller, and on mine at least, I've always had a difficult time with that staying closed. Definitely have not had a problem with this new version staying closed, and that's even with this extreme warpage happening. Looking at the inside of the vehicle, starting with the cockpit, green along the back wall is just a little bit lighter in coloring this time around. Gray seats seem to be pretty darn close in color to me. And then that green color for the console looks pretty darn close in coloring also. What is different this time around is the gray color. It's darker in its tone. Here also, I like that. I like the darker look. The stickers that you're seeing, from what I can tell, all the stickers on the vehicle are the same design, but the brightness of each sticker is just a little bit different. They are lighter in color. Moving into the inside of the vehicle, like I said, sculpting, everything remains the same. Obviously, because of the different color and plastic, that's going to carry through here. You're not getting the green interior for the floor at all that you had on that 2013 release. Instead, this time, all that base gray color, still getting that little patch of dark gray coloring. And that pretty much wraps up the differences between these two vehicles. Moving into the accessories, first up you get the detention block. Exact same sculpting once again, but on this 2013 release we're back to a darker smoky colored translucent plastic top. Whereas on that 2013 release, all gray. And then onto the Han Solo and Carbonate block, where this time you are getting, well, I guess new for the vehicle, but this is the same Carbonate block that you got for Jabba's playset and the Carbon Freeze chamber. It does not have the magnet on the back as it did for the one that came with Jabba's Palace playset. Here it is comparing to the 2013 release, and yeah, definitely a nice upgrade in getting this new one. I like the bright silver that we have on this new release. It really highlights the sculpt, and then your added touch of details along the side. So in my opinion, definitely an upgrade this time around. So I guess in the end, this was probably kind of a quick comparison. I don't want to say review because, as I mentioned in the very beginning, I only wanted to highlight what was different between these two releases since it's essentially the very same sculpt of a vehicle, the same functionality with the wings, the cockpit moving, the missiles shooting out, the bombs dropping. As I shown off, you are getting a much better paint application this time around with the dirt wash being applied in the front, the added touches of detail within the wing wells, I guess we'll call it there, at the center of the body where the wings join, and then just the massive upgrade in paint applications to the backside of the vehicle. Not to mention this time you're getting the display stand so that you can show off that backside, show off the vehicle in a flight position rather than being landed all of the time. And you're now getting the upgraded Han Solo and Carbonate block, although that has had a few releases now. So As I mentioned earlier, if you want to see the full review of that 2013 version, you can look in the description below. Otherwise, I hope this helped you make a choice if you want to pick up this new one, as it's getting re-released yet again for 2021. But my understanding, everything's the same. They're just kind of running the machines again, I guess. Or maybe you think you're good, you're going to stick with your 2013 release, and that's just fine too. So anyways, that's going to wrap this one up. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this release in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.